Hey guys, this is Senora Romri here. We are going to take some notes over numbers 1 through 100 today. So if you would please get out a piece of paper and a pencil. We're going to go ahead and take notes the old-fashioned style. Today I'm using something different to take notes on, but we're going to try it out today. I also have this cool little doohickey that I get to write on. We'll see if we can figure it out. I have attempted to figure it out today, so we're going to try. But I'm going to try to flip back and forth. So we are going to try to do our notes today, but take them as we're going. And obviously you can start and stop the video anytime. I would be aware that even though you think you know numbers 1 through 10 or something like that, don't skip through just because a lot of times we spell them the wrong way. And that is definitely problematic. We want to be able to learn them right the first time. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to type out the first ones, and if I need to make any notes, I'll try to use my stylus. All right. So number 1 is uno, U-N-O. If you played the card game, you would know that. 2 is dos. Whoop. 3 is tres. Like I said, pause at any time if I'm going too quick for you. 4 is cuatro, C-U-A-R-T-R-O, cuatro, and cinco, 1 through 5 right there. A lot of times people misspell cuatro with a Q instead, Q-U-A-T-R-O, because that is English, but we actually don't have that in Spanish, okay? After cinco is seis, siete, ocho, nueve, and 10 is diez. Okay, so diez is obviously spelled weird too, so make sure that you are spelling all this correctly, but that is our 1 through 10, and it's going to be really important that you guys know 1 through 10 because it is the basis for all the other numbers, right? So the cool thing about 1 through 100 is you think, oh my gosh, we're going to learn 100 new numbers today. However, I'm going to give you some cheats to figure out how we can just learn these 10, and then we can kind of add the other ones together, all right? And we'll just learn our 10s afterwards. So we're going to start, and we're going to do, another 10 right now. So obviously we started with our, hello. Here we go. So we start with our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. After 10 comes once. And once looks a lot like uno, right? 12 is doce, 13, trece, 14, catorce, a weirdo, and 15 is quince, all right? These are also ones you're just gonna have to memorize. But 11 looks like, once looks like uno, right? Doce, trece, catorce. 15 is a quince, and if you've ever heard of a quinceañera, it's a really important cultural thing in Spanish-speaking countries. And you know how we have Sweet 16s here in the United States. A lot of times in Spanish-speaking countries, they have a quinceañera, which is when a girl turns 15, she's officially a woman. So we have a big party for quinceañeras. So that's kind of cool. So it's also called a quince, right? Because she's turning 15. Next, 16. This is where it gets kind of fun. 16 is dieciséis. And the E has an accent mark. Let me get my accent markers here. Whoop, and I don't know what that is. Dieciséis. Dieciséis. Sorry, y'all. I'm kind of on the struggle bus over here. Dieciséis, the last E has an accent mark. And it's kind of interesting because, very interesting because we have diez y seis, okay? So if you look at diez, right, it looks a lot like diez, right? So diez means the 10. How do we say and in Spanish? Y, right, the Y, diez E, the I is going to be our Y here, and how much? 6, right? So we have 10 and 6. What's 10 and 6? 16, right? So that's kind of the trick. As you kind of go up, each number is the tens number and the single digit. Okay, so we have 16. This one is 17. None of the other ones have accent marks. Next one is 18. 19. And 20 is 20. Okay, so also remember that as we kind of figure out this over here, 20, let me see if I can use my stylus here. 20 is actually pronounced, instead of with a V, it's pronounced with a B. So right here, sorry, I'm trying to find my mouse. I know you guys can see it, I can't. I don't know. Anyway, so a V is usually a B. Okay, so when we pronounce it, we're gonna say, instead of 20, we're gonna say 20, right? And that's the correct way to spell it. So please make a note to yourself, the V equals a B. You also want to make a note to yourself, kind of over here, 10 and 6, right? 16, right? It's 10 and 6. 17 is 10 and 7. So as we kind of go on, that's the way we do it. Alrighty? So we're going to move on, and I'm going to go ahead and fill in the 20s because they work the exact same way. Hold on just a second. So I filled in the rest of them with the 20s. And as we, like I said, with the teens, right, we go to 21 and we just start with 20, right? 20, 20, E and 1, 20 and 2. As we go on here, right, we're just adding, we're just changing these. We have the 10 and the 1, whatever. Make please a note that 22 has an accent mark over the last O. 23 has an accent mark over the last 3. And 26 has an accent mark over the last E as well. So we have 22, 23, 26. So 2, 3, 6 have accent marks on them. Obviously, we know 16 also has an accent mark on it, okay? I'm going to fill in the rest of this. I'm going to start a new screen with 40s all the way up. Well, 30s and all the way up, okay? And we'll figure out how to do those. Okay. So now we went all the way through 30, right? 30. And we kind of saw that obviously our teens and our 20s had the two numbers kind of squished together into one. We're going to now move on to the 30s and the rest of the numbers through 100 that are just a tiny bit different. So 30 is obviously 30, right? But once we get to 30 and above, we change to 30 y, the number, right? So instead of the I, we have the Y instead. So 31 is what? 30 and 1, right? 30 and 2. So as we go along, that's kind of the quote-unquote formula for the rest of them. So if we say 40, 40, 50, 50, 60, 60, 70, 70, 80, 80, 90, 90, and 100 is 100. Now, if we were to go over to 101, we would add an O, ciento, 101, right? And then we just drop the Y and we just have 101, 101, okay? So if I'm talking about, this is the same kind of formula that I'm going to do. How would I say 41? How would I say 57? How would I say 66? 75? 81? 93? 103? So you guys get the picture, right? So as you go on 1 through 100, that's kind of the trick, is that it just kind of carries the same kind of formula the whole way. Now we do have to, right, memorize, obviously 1 through 10, very important as we go on. There are the ones, and our by tens are very important as well. As long as you can remember 1 through 10 in the tens, you can remember the entire 1 through 100. Okay, so keep in mind, this is how we'll do our numbers. and we will move on to more later. Thanks, guys.